Loving your yourself is the greatest way to show your kids how to love themselves. I think there is like teaching kids how to love themselves is not a difficult task. Educating children in general is a difficult task, but when it comes to the specific aspect of teaching them to love themselves, I think it's pretty simple. I'll explain. Um, it's pretty simple because kids kids mimic. They mimic. And although there's a lot happening in the world and many people can influence your kids, especially if they, neighbors, friends, the school, movies. Like, there's so much being thrown at kids at once, and they could mimic anything. But I'd say, in essence, if one is um, if you love yourself and you love, well, in my case it would be the father of your children, and you love what looks like your children, or what looks like you and your peers and your husband and your children, then it, they will automatically see themselves as worthy because they look like you. You are your child's mirror, or the first mirror. So if you know how to treat yourself better, if you know not to belittle yourself or your needs, if you're being assertive enough, if you treat yourself with respect, you treat them with respect, you treat your husband with respect, or the child's father with respect, then that's more than enough to show your children they're worthy. Whatever you would like your child to do, you do it yourself, and just watch. They'll copy. At a certain point, though, they might change, they might deviate from that. They may be influenced by someone else, something else, some kind of trend or whatever. This will happen, and these are things that you cannot control. But when it comes to what you can control, focus on loving yourself. This is like, I think this is the biggest part, the most difficult part of, most difficult, and it's also the easiest part, because that's something you can control, the way you treat yourself. So for example, let's say your child is born, they're a toddler, they're asking questions, or let's say they're a teenager and they want to relax their hair. If your hair is relaxed, then how are you gonna make them no shame to the people who relax their hair. I'm just trying to take an example, and for me, for example, if my child were to tell me, um, is it no shade or no shade? No shade, whatever, you got it. So if my child were to tell me, hey, I'd like to relax my hair, um, if my hair is relaxed, then how do I teach them to value their hair? You know, I mean, how do I tell you, hey, you should not relax your hair if mine is relaxed, or if I'm wearing wigs. So same thing would happen, for example, if I change my features. Let's say I change my nose or whatever, and my child looks just like me with my natural nose, and they want to do a rhinoplasty. What could I possibly tell them? If I hate their father, if I belittle their father and say, oh my God, like, you look just like your dad, or your dad is just such a weird, I don't know, and I criticize their dad, but they look like their dad. What message am I transmitting them? What am I telling them? If I keep bad mouthing people that look like us, like this is a very common thing in the Caribbean, where you would have people um, criticizing, we would criticize each other a lot. Like the way we look, our features, um, other black people, or the culture. Like it was just such a self criticism that was so pronounced, you know, and it's very frequent. So in Haiti, this is very common. People badmouth Haitian people, badmouth Haitian people a lot, and this is something that you see in the Caribbean a lot. Like it happens a lot. Um, and for example, I don't need to get into details. So yeah, if I engage in that habit of bad mouthing the people who look like us, so of course they will grow up thinking, well, my mom is bad mouthing this girl. She has the same body type as my mom, yet my mom is talking bad about her body, and my body is just like mom's. So what is this? That means mine is not good, etc. I'm taking these examples so I can illustrate what I mean. So even in abstract things too, in the concepts that are not, it's not something physical, they will end up like attaching these things, attaching their value to these things. They will then associate themselves with all the bad things that you are reflecting. So if you want your children to love themselves, focus on loving yourself, respecting respecting their father or mother. Um, just respect each other. It just for me, as I'm saying this right now, it's so clear, especially because of how I grew up and what I've noticed in different households, different um, families, the dynamics, the way they interact with their children. And I also notice what I lacked. Lacked. Yeah. What I maybe did not um, get. So I think if we focus on these things, it should work. It should work because it will mimic. It's like, for example, people, you would see your someone. It's like when I look at my brothers now, they often do many things that my father does. His gestures, the way he eats, the way he comments on things, the way he stands, like there's so much in common, and it's because they picked it up. They just picked it up because they are we I mean, growing up, um, we copy what we see around us. And I'd say even in as adults, this is something to take into consideration too, because when you stay around someone long enough, then you start mimicking some aspects of them, or you may like pick up some things. Sometimes you may pick up part of their accent or a word that they say a lot, or sometimes you would pick up habits. You would pick up. I'm sorry, my body just scratches so bad. I think I'm just hot. Um, and you would pick up on certain things. It could be a habit. It could be a gesture. It could be a way of speaking. It could be anything really. It could be anything. Um, and it's less frequent or less obvious in adults, but it still happens. And as I'm talking about that right now, I remember that thought came across that I was with a friend of mine, and she's very herself. And the fact that she's so herself obligates me, forces me to be myself too. Right? She's honest. I cannot not be an honest friend around her. I cannot not be honest around her. I cannot not be myself around her. I cannot not be authentic around her because she is authentic. She is very honest. And so this also takes out the honesty. It takes out that side of me not that side of me, it takes out me, who I am. So if you are honest with your children, if you are assertive, you know how to set the boundaries, you kind of show them the way. They will kind of have to be that way with you too. All right, I think that's enough for now. Bye.